Hi guys, my name is Katrina.
And my name is Daria. Today we'll welcome Maria. Maria is a beauty industry professional with 14 years of experience in luxury cosmetics and 10 years of experience in corporate beauty. Welcome, Maria. Thank you so much for coming today. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Maria, so we've heard that you are working with NARS and Drunk Elephant. So you're working with huge brands that are so popular in luxury. How did your journey begin actually with working like this?
Actually, it's a funny story because it happened by fluke. When I graduated from college, I was looking for a job, and it was actually during the time of recession and the financial crisis of 2010. So many people lost their jobs. No one was hiring. I was looking for months. I couldn't find anything. And it got to the point where I was, if I don't find a job, I'll have to leave Canada. And so I was like, okay, if I can get a job in marketing, because that's what I was hoping to get, I might as well just get a retail or something so I can have a job and extend my working visa. And so during that time, I was like, okay, so what could I, if I did retail, what could I do? I don't have really retail experience, but what could I sell, right? So I was thinking, and one thing that I'm passionate about is makeup, and I've always been that, the girly girl, I always had makeup, the most makeup out of all of my friends, and, I played in my room as a kid, was, putting makeup, red lipsticks on, and I also went to art school, so I have that artistic side, and, that creative side, so I was like, okay, so maybe I'll do retail beauty or something. So one day I walked into Sephora, and it's funny because, when you first graduate, you don't have any job, work experience, right? But you have to put something on the resume. And the only thing that related to beauty that I could think of is when I was 15, I used to sell Avon, if you guys remember. Avon.
Wow.
But the funny part is the only reason why I was selling Avon because I wanted makeup at a discount price.
Yeah.
And my only clients were my mom and my grandmother.
Yeah, I think that's the usual for Avon business.
And I remember my grandmother, she would always place her order and then would give me more money just because she would want to give me more money, right? Because she's my grandmother. And it's so funny because I was just visiting my family in Russia that last summer, and I reminded my grandmother of that story. I'm like, do you remember I used to sell Avon and you would buy and just give me more money? We laughed. Such a good, good laugh there. But so going back to Sephora's story, so one day I just walked into a Sephora, with my Avon experience. And just by chance, or nothing really happens by chance, but by chance, the person that I walked in and the first person I saw I started talking to was actually a store director, and we hit it off. I told her I'd like to apply to for a job. She looked at my resume, she saw Avon. She was like, oh, that's cool. Knowing her now, she probably was like, WTF, Avon, what? But yeah. So we kind of hit it off, and I don't really remember if I went back for the interview. I must have probably did a couple of interviews, but I ended up getting the job, and I worked at Sephora for 3 years. I really liked working there. It's a really good company. In terms of they provide you with a lot of trainings, even if you didn't go to makeup school, right? They send you on different trainings, and also you get exposure to a lot of different brands. So you get trainings, but also you can build your makeup kit as a makeup artist, and then you build your network because you meet people from different brands all the time. So I really like working at Sephora, but then going back to immigration again, so in order for me to apply for permanent residency, I actually, and during that time, they kept changing the program. You're probably familiar with this, when you immigrate and there's one program, then they change it to points, and then you change it to something else. And then anyway, so when I was working at Sephora, it was okay for me to apply for permanent residency, but then when it was time for me to apply, it was actually oh no, you don't fit this program anymore. So now I had to leave and get an office job in order for me to qualify to get permanent residency. Yeah. So I left Sephora, I got a job in marketing, and I did marketing for a year, and then I really miss beauty industry. And because I've had all these connections already, that I built through Sephora and meeting different brand reps, and I've met so many different brands, I've built an extensive network, and I decided to start freelancing as a makeup artist because like I just wanted to, not because like I needed money, but because I just wanted to have that connection to makeup and beauty and creativity, right? So it was really good creative outlet for me. So I worked as, full-time in marketing, 9 to 5. And then on the weekends, I would freelance as a makeup artist for NARS. Nice. Because and NARS was the brand that was always my favorite when I worked at Sephora. It's the brand I've built a really good relationship with. And then I, ended up getting the job as a freelance artist for them. So I did this 7 days working straight for probably like a year.
Oh, wow.
And then, hard work pays off. Then there was an opening at the NARS head office in marketing. And I was like, oh my God, this is a given. Like, I'm doing marketing. I'm freelancing for NARS. I can just, combine two and like not work 7 days a week. So I applied and, there was an extensive interview process and all that. And I ended up getting a job as a marketing and PR coordinator. And yeah, I started working as a coordinator. Then I got promoted to assistant manager, and then a manager, and then manager of multiple brands. So I've been managing the PR department for the last 7 years now.
Wow.
But my combined experience as a corporate is like, this is my 9th year, so almost 10.
Congratulations. It sounds amazing. And you're right that, it sounds like by chance, like, it's just happened so.
Yes.
And like you got there, but eventually it's actually the universe, the hard work, like everything together that brought you actually to that point of time, to that place, and to meet like exactly that person, not just as someone on the floor who was helping like customer service. So it's amazing.
Absolutely. It's, sometimes it just clicks.
Yeah.
Stars align for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
You mentioned you're actually the manager of the public relations department. Yeah. So what exactly do you do there? Like, it sounds like a dream job.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, as public relations in general in the beauty industry, right? Because there's so many different PR jobs. There's like a crisis PR. There's a lot. But in beauty industry specifically, I manage press relationships, so traditional media. So let's say like TVs and like segments, and then publications, so print, digital, and then we also have a whole side which is the influencer relations. So I work with beauty influencers, lifestyle influencers, and that like paid programming, like if we do paid partnerships. So it's all part of like influencer marketing, all that is part of the PR department.
Amazing.
So do you actually decide where to spend the budget, like on influencers or like TV or anything? So do you work on that?
Yes, that's part of the job. I mean, to be fair, traditional media is important, but we also know that influencer marketing, that's been a priority for many brands for many years now. So I think more of my job is like less about traditional media. I still have those relationships, but then like influencer marketing is where we spend like more time and efforts.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say also organizing events, right?
Oh yes, events. I haven't mentioned events. Events is a big thing as well. Yes,
Yeah.
We usually do either like a freestanding PR event, so for a brand, for let's say for a new launch, or we do like partnership with, like we had a partnership with a magazine last year that was like a big for us. So there are different types.
Yeah,
of
because I've
events that we
seen
do.
some of them, like they're very like beautiful. Like I really like them.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but then it's really fun to execute it on the day of the event.
And it's rewarding just to have the pictures after, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So for 10 years, you worked with NARS as a competitive corporation. And throughout like your journey, did you have some challenges, and what really helped you like to push through them?
I mean, when I began my corporate career, I was very self-conscious and very nervous to speak up. It was very, very intimidating because I was working with very bright and brilliant and smart people, and it's very ambitious, right? And as you mentioned, it's very competitive space, so everyone is like on their top game. And being young, having English as a second language, I would always be so nervous to speak up in meetings because I'm like, what if I say something stupid? What if there's a corporate jargon everyone uses? You're like, what does that mean? Like, I don't even know. And so like when you're learning all these things, you try to navigate it. And so how doubt was that was actually if I had to present, let's say, right? If we have let's say a retailing meeting and we go to Sephora head office and we have to present something to them, I would practice a lot. And that was something, I would write out all the speaking points I want to mention, and then I would rehearse in front of the mirror and it just kind of like speak it out loud. And that really helped me, get that confident and speaking out in like meetings or settings. And eventually it got better.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. I feel like talking to yourself in the mirror builds your confidence like throughout, not only in public speaking, but just within yourself. Like you understand, oh, I can do this. I'm nice. See, I even like stood up a little.
Yes, it's very powerful.
Have you ever had like imposter syndrome? You mentioned that because you had English as a second language, and I'm as an immigrant, I feel you when you say this, and also when you mentioned that your program changed. Like I was, I think, at that point of my life when I finished college, and I was almost there, with my papers, and then they say, "Oh, we just changed it." I'm like, "Oh my God, I need to start over." So yeah, so have you ever had this imposter syndrome in your career, especially when you started out? In NARS?
In terms of imposter syndrome, I have this very vivid memory. When I was a coordinator, we had some presentation in New York. So I flew into New York with my boss, and I was sitting in this meeting room. It was a huge room full of people, and I'm looking around, and everyone there is like a director, vice president, and I am the only coordinator there. And my immediate first reaction was self-doubt. It's like, I'm in the wrong place. I don't know what I'm doing. Everyone's so much smarter than me. Everyone's so much more experienced than me. And it was like a very hard position to be in. But, I did my presentation. I think I did okay. I don't really remember that part. But what's interesting is that sometime after, maybe like a couple of years after, I've heard this quote that goes, if you're the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. And when I've heard that, that took me back to that New York moment where I was sitting. I was like, no, I deserve to be in that room because there were people who believed in me, who saw something I didn't see in myself. And, there was a reason I was in that room. I was in the right place, the right time. And that really was at a very empowering moment that helped me build my confidence, later on in my career.
Yeah,
Amazing.
for sure. Yeah, I don't think anyone would invite, a coordinator just, for fun, right? So there was a purpose, and they saw something in you, and they were sure that you're the person needed there. And it's actually, helped them.
Absolutely, yes.
I also saw that you have a page on Instagram where you speak about female energy and coaching, and it resonates a lot because it's nice to have the corporate job and being successful. This is amazing, but also you have this spiritual side of you, and you're working on this, and I think you're presenting it to the world, and you're encouraging more women to follow it. Could you please tell us more about it? What coaching are you doing, and what this page is for?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to take a step back. So my spiritual awakening, so to say, it started before my 25th birthday. And I feel like that really changed my entire life, every aspect, my career, my personal life. It's really changed how I see the world. And, I got introduced to different modalities, to law of attraction, manifestation, and that helped me build the life that I live today, not only in my career, but also in personal life. And for the last couple of years, I felt like I got to the stage where I feel called to help women, because having, that spiritual side and having a high empowering career, sometimes it's not a very common thing. But I just want to be an example that's yes, you can have it all. It doesn't mean if you're spiritual, you just have to move to Bali where you meditate all day, because that seems like what a lot of people do in the beginning of their spiritual awakening. But really, spirituality to me is having that relationship with self, having that relationship with your soul and with your spirit, right? And trusting your intuition and bringing that into your everyday life. So if you want to be a high-powered career woman and a spiritual woman, you can. And those are the things, they're not separate from each other because that's part of who you are. And you can definitely combine both. And when you mentioned about the feminine energy, it's what's interesting. There is this big misconception about the hustle culture and the girl boss, boss babe, narrative that's been pushed for, I want to say maybe 5+ years, maybe even longer, but it's been like, oh, hustle and grind. But what a lot of women don't understand is it could be very damaging for their feminine nature because hustle mentality is a very masculine energy. So when you understand that and when you are in tune with your feminine self, your life and your work life is becoming like just so much easier, right? Everything is kind of just aligning for you instead of like you have to like go in and grind it and get in it all the time. It's like, no, if you follow the right steps, you can just attract the things that you want in your life instead of, going after it aggressively.
I think you're right. It's been advertised so much that it's became popular to like being busy, and I think it doesn't mean productive all the time, right? It's just being busy and like having coffee on I don't know, in your car, and like it's kind of sounds like you're grinding. Yeah, that's, and it's being popular. It's like, yes, let's do it. This is fun. This is like
5 a.m.
sexy
culture. You have to wake up at 5 a.m. so you can get all these things done before you start your day.
Yeah, exactly. And you do all of them like while driving or like multitasking, and like by the end of the day, you're exhausting because you are like multitasking like 100, I don't know, jobs and family and stuff. And exactly, like there's no female energy at all, like feminine energy. Like you lost it somewhere by running, I don't know, after this. So I think, and I actually was one of them. I thought it was cool, to actually multitask and do everything together and like have a full-time, part-time, and then another maybe part-time, and then another hustle, and then, I don't know, and still have time for social life. But slowly I realized that it's not, manageable. Like I cannot do this.
It's
and
just not sustainable.
it's not sustainable.
You can't,
Exactly.
You can't go long like that.
Yeah.
Women, we
definitely.
are, I think, like 30% prone more to burnout, like to burn out faster than men. So we're just not meant to work like men. Like we're supposed to work like women.
Yeah,
from
but
our feminine side.
Yeah, but it was promoted like, on Instagram or somewhere, like, oh, it's cool. And I was like, yeah, I want to be cool. I want to be that, lady boss or something. And when I lost it, I'm like, oh no, I can't. I'm not lady boss anymore. Yeah, so I feel it. And I think after that, like my spiritual journey began when I realized that I cannot go like this anymore. Like I need some rest and I need to ground myself. And that's, I think, when I started to meditate and like to take those extra days off where I do nothing and just enjoy like my life and my peace.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's important.
I feel like corporate is very like masculine energy. So how do you accommodate? Like how do you combine those two together in your like life?
I think it's important to have a balance, and because I'm in a headspace all the time, and that's a very masculine thing, right? When you are always on computer, always making decisions. So I find that balance by bringing myself, into the body practice, which is the feminine side. So getting like more grounded and physical, any physical activity, anything, exercising, or my favorite form of meditation is actually going on long walks. And it's even better if it's in nature because nature is very healing. So I think that balance between your head and body. So if you're in your head all the time, which is masculine, it's important for you to take time and make that, practices in a physical body, in connecting with your feminine nature, and also just connecting with your intuition. I think that's a very powerful feminine thing. And when you make work decisions, you just kind of have to sometimes trust that gut feeling. So
You also mentioned this new girl boss like culture when like everyone is running after something, you know, like to go getters and all of that. And you're saying your narrative is like, no, we have to like stay back, relax, and attract. So could you a little bit like elaborate a little on it?
yes.
Okay.
So that's where the law of attraction comes in. And, you know, there are 12 universal laws and principles and by which our universe operates. And law of attraction is one of them. So law of attraction is based on frequency, right? And so it's like attracts like. So you have to kind of get on the frequency of your desired things to attract it into your life, right? That's one thing. And also, so it's more like instead of hustling, you kind of just have to align and become the thing that you want. So if that's like would be a better explanation. So that's the law of attraction. And part of the law of attraction is the whole like manifestation, and manifestation is like a very trending topic that everyone, you know, talks on TikTok about. But manifestation is not just like a wishful thinking. It's not you're like, oh, I want this and I'm going to put it on my vision board. But it doesn't work if you don't do and like don't have the aligned action. So those are the main things that you need as a part of the law of attraction. So you have to decide what you want. You have to believe that you're going to get it, and you have to take action. So that's going to the law of attraction away, instead of, if we go back to your question, it's like if the hustle culture, if you just constantly like, I'm going to go get it. I'm going to like always trying to get it, right? And be the fastest, you know, the smartest, you know, like a very like competitive masculine energy versus feminine, where it's like, this is the life that I want. I'm going to get it. And I'm going to take the steps in my time, in divine timing, to attract these things into my life.
Amazing. Sounds great. Sounds like a plan.
Yes.
I like this plan.
I wish I could do this.
Yeah, and that's why when you're asking like about the coaching part, I just really want to help women with that and make them realize that there's other way to achieve things in your life and build the life of your dreams. And it doesn't only mean that you have to be, you know, hustle and grind and boss babe all the time.
Yeah, that's good news, actually. When you speak about coaching, do you have groups, or is it like one-on-one coaching? Is it like online or offline? Like, how does it work?
Yes. So right now I'm doing individual. So because of my schedule, because I work full time, I only have a few spots. So, you know, I do like one-on-one, and it's usually like depending on the area of your life where you struggle with, that we build out the package for you individually.
Oh, okay. But it's online and offline, or
It's online right
it's
now.
online. Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
But
perfect.
I do have plans to expand a little bit more on it. And, you know, as my schedule kind of frees up, and like I'm thinking about other ways that I can maybe do group you know, events or something like intimate, you know, gatherings for women. I think that something is also in the works.
Yeah, if you
in the
do
near
events,
future.
I think that would be great, because I think there are a lot of women who actually are looking like how to combine, you know, corporate and that feminine side, because we all want to be successful and we all want to be relaxed, you know, and recharged all the time. We don't want to be like exhausted and like going through the burnouts, right? So I think it's perfect that you coach this, and maybe if you can do events or something, like I'm sure there will be a huge audience for this who are like interested, like me and Daria. Here you go.
Okay, you're both invited.
You have first clients.
I love it. I love it. I'm working on like an online course right now that's self-study. That's going to be within, it's more in relations to kind of the PR aspect of it. But yeah, it's going to be
Wow,
so,
amazing.
yeah.
I can't wait. Can't wait for this course now. I need it now. I don't want to wait.
It's in the works
Okay,
right now.
I'll track. Could you provide like one piece of advice for women who are struggling? Because we are living in the modern world. We live in Toronto, Canada. It's a very hustle culture. There's a lot of stress in our lives. And like maybe there's like one thing, like the first step that we could all do in order for us to go more from like, you know, like being go-getters into the relaxed side. What would you tell?
I think if it was like one step that everyone could do today is connecting with your intuition. It's such a powerful tool, and it's so overlooked. And just having that inner compass, right, where you can kind of test it out and play with it. And sometimes when you have like a feeling about something and it turns out to be true, you know, so events like this, you're like, oh, I should have trusted myself. So the more you practice that, then you'll hear it louder and more clear. So intuition is a very powerful thing that I would recommend everyone to, you know, connect to themselves. I think another advice I would have is do not compare yourself to anyone, especially on social media, because most of the things that you see there are not real. And only person you should ever compare yourself to is yourself. Only measure your progress, only measure where you are. Don't ever compare yourself to other people.
Amazing.
Could you elaborate a little bit on how to connect with the intuition? Is it like I'm just being in the moment and listening to my gut feeling? Would it
Exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is. Just
shaking.
just quiet in your mind. Yes. You can sometimes, even if you meditate and if you practice meditation, or you don't have to like sit there quiet, but sometimes like quiet in your mind is very helpful. And just kind of observing your feelings as they come and go, kind of just, you know, judge it from that side. And then for me personally, I find it helpful when you merit it like based on events. For example, you know, I'm single, I'm dating, right? Like, you know, out there dating, not anyone specific, but sometimes you just meet a person and you immediately get a gut feeling. Nothing happened, a lovely person, but you just like, something is off just energetically.
Yeah.
And it right away turns out to be that something was off. So it's like, oh, I should have trusted myself, should never went out with this person. So just moments like this. Or so if sometimes you're networking and you meet a person, you just like get that feeling. You're like, oh, what is that? What is that? Like, why do I feel this way? And then you just trust it because like this person ends up being this and that, right? So just kind of observing your feelings and trusting them. I think that's one way to do it.
And I also think another part of this would be not analyzing it, you know, like not weighting it by, oh, like, is this a smart decision or not? Just like trust yourself with the feel. Sorry, I'm just like trying
to understand it. Yes, yes.
I just started practicing like trusting myself more like recently. So this is why like I'm really interested in this topic. And I feel like this is like a piece of advice I would share, because a lot of times I'm like, I don't want to go there, and then I need to find like analyze and find the reasons not to go. But it's just like my own feeling is not, it's not good enough. It's not enough of the reason to not to go. I have to tell myself, okay, here's 3 arguments why we shouldn't go.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it happened to me like this Thursday. So this is what I'm saying. It's just like the intuition part is when you don't analyze it, you just trust it.
Yeah, because logical mind is a masculine mind, right? And intuition is very feminine energy. So that's where you connect to your feminine self. That's what, you know, it means.
Yeah, and you're trying to find the reason. It's just your logic side telling you that, well, you cannot just rely on your feelings. You probably have to, you know, explain this to yourself or something. So yeah, Maria, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure, and we are sure that our audience is inspired, and we hope to see your events very soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are living like every girl's dream, you know, like you know, feminine energy, coaching. Like as you mentioned, like you want to be an example to show you can have it all. You know,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
True
You can have it all.
Yeah. Yes, and we will have it all after we get your course. So can't wait for that one. Thank you.
Yes.
How is it? Do you feel comfortable? You look comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah?